Oh, okay. Well, it has been a hot minute. It's been a few hot minutes. We took the break, I want to say in November, and decided we need to get some things together before we come back to the table. And that it really does speak to the topic we have today. So let me get the intro playing and then we'll jump right into what we are going to talk about today, which is success. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. It's been a while since we have gotten together. This is HouJack DMS Live Learning. I am Gwendolyn, GR Houston Jack. And man, let me say this. Today, we're not going to discuss it, but just put a feather in your cap. Okay? You're going to tag it. We're going to talk about fiscal years and defining when your start and stop is. I know a lot of us tend to, and I shouldn't say I know, I'm going to safely assume a lot of us look at the fiscal year as when our business should start. When fact of the matter is, your fiscal year can start whenever your heart desires. And so in the midst of thinking about what was going on, what's been happening, I told myself we are not going to get into a place of rushing. We are not going to get into a place of feeling overwhelmed. We are not going to be overwhelmed. We are going to do what we need to do when we need to do it. Therefore, in the midst of completing other projects, because there are other projects on the table, this particular project went to the side, not because I didn't love it, not because I love it less, simply because I needed the right time for me to bring it back to the table. So today's topic for HouJack DMS Live Learning is defining success. I've been sitting with this topic for a few months, actually, like a few months there. When I say there's a lot going on, there's a lot going on. So this will not be a one-day topic. As a matter of fact, we, as in me, myself, and I, are actively working on putting together a quick workshop, if you will, to get into the beginnings of defining what success looks for each and every one of us. So let me just go ahead and get into this topic as we get started today. And this, of course, is streaming live to YouTube and YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, if you have not already, we would love it if you would like, share, and subscribe to our channel. But also to let us know what success means to you. Like, how do you define it? Because when we talk about success, and I'm going to go with the society's idea of what success is. And this is just my opinion, okay? Of course, I have a definition waiting for you. Of course, every good educator has an official definition so we can have the conversation. But I'm going to go with what I have seen in my lifetime. When people talk about being successful, they typically surround success, the definition, with things, physical property, items, money, but it's all things. Everything's a thing. Someone has to be able to see what you have in order to agree or say this person is successful, right? It's a show. In my opinion, I will go ahead and tell you, I see it as a facade. So it's not real, right? It's a facade. And so when I think about that, I think to myself, how sustainable is that? And at what point did we agree that these physical things were ideas of success? When did we agree to that? Now, I don't know about society. I mean, I'm only 49 years old. What do I know? But I do remember keeping up with the Joneses. And I do recall that there would be these conversations that these adults were having where they were overly concerned with the car so-and-so was driving, the house so-and-so was moving into, the new curtains, people got curtains, or the new drapes that they had created, because someone has to come out and make drapes for your windows. I know, different times, roll with it. But it was the new dress someone has, the shoes. And what was the term? It was in the 80s, 90s, where it was, in my opinion, right now, this overt addiction to consumerism, where it is the bigger, the bolder, the badder it is. It says, look at me, flashing signs, look at me. And we started assuming that that meant people were successful, completely forgetting that this country has a habit of using credit. We like to finance our dreams. I remember on a cruise recently, watching this home show. She didn't talk about coming to the table with a chunk of money. Her whole deal was, well, there are credit options, so check out your credit options for blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's your go-to. We believe in financing our dream. We rarely believe in coming to the table with good old mean green. We believe that if you have this fancy car, that surely things must be going well for you. You're driving an Aston Martin, you're driving a Maserati, surely. So let's talk about the definition of success. According to the dictionary, it says it is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. Seems pretty simple, right? I think it seems pretty simple. And for most of us, when we say that we have hit a certain level of success, it comes from, I earned the title that I wanted, or I earned my degree, I did XYZ. Like, we make these goals. And we'll even take it away from like a workplace. It could just be, I ran my first 5K. I finished my first marathon. I finished a marathon. I finished 1 mile. Or I did blah, blah, blah. Like, when we talk about success and I'm going to just, again, we're using generalities here, but most people tend to think it needs to be something big, broad, and like flashy. We often overlook the simplest definition, which is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. We completely overlook that. Your kid learning to tie their shoelaces, that's success. Your child getting potty trained, that's success. Your child being able to feed themselves and not have food on the floor, that is success. You getting up in the morning and getting your workout in for 15 minutes, that is success. Somewhere along the lines, we decided to accept somebody's definition of success, that it had to be something big. This, in my opinion, is where we get the ridiculous statement, and yes, I said ridiculous statement, of small wins and large wins. When in actuality, a win has no size. It has no size. A win is a win. That's it. When you are successful in whatever it is that you were aiming to accomplish, you got it. It wasn't a big win, wasn't a small win, it's a win. I don't know who did it. I would actually like to dig deeper into that and see if I can really find out what person got us to buy into the BS lie that in order for us to be successful, it has to be some major thing. And that anything other than is just not really much to talk about. Ugh. We have to be careful of what we put into our minds, what we agree to. Sometimes we agree to stuff without really thinking about what we're agreeing to. We just accept it. Now, as a child, we are given our values. Hear me clearly. I know you're like, I don't understand, Gwendolyn. What does that mean? Hold on. And this is just ginger ale, so don't freak out. Just ginger ale, no cocktail today. I know. As a child, whatever happens in your households, whoever you have around you, they will model behaviors that you may or may not adopt. But the values you have, the messaging that you receive about a variety of topics, it starts at home. We typically will repeat everything we see in the household. So if you see your parents, grandmother, grandfather, whoever your caregiver is, doing certain things, you would typically either go towards it or go away from it. Can't tell which way. But it's a 50-50, right? It's a toss-up. It's one or the other. But the values that you have typically come from your parents. Prime example, I was in so many ways raised in the church, right? Went to church every Sunday. There was kids Bible study. Then there was the Sunday school. There was choir, all the things. Because my mother was heavy in the church. She taught women's Bible study. She taught the kids Bible study. So there wasn't an option to say no. It was at our house. But then as you grow into your young adulthood, you start saying to yourself, are these my values? Do I really believe in all the things that are being said to me? Now, my faith is deep. My belief in what some people do inside a building, i.e. called the church, not so much. Not so much. Didn't impact my faith, but it did impact some other things, right? When we were kids, we celebrated Easter and Christmas and a whole bunch of stuff. I don't celebrate Easter. I will do a Passover Seder, but I don't celebrate Easter. I don't do Christmas. Don't do that either. We do a variety of things. And people will often say, what? You don't? It's like, no, I don't value that. So when we talk about success, you got to look at what matters to you. That's the question. Because if you're currently living someone else's life, you are defining success and being successful based on someone else's definition. How do you know that that's how you would really define it? If it doesn't matter to you, then that's not your definition. You have to say what matters to me. That's where you start. When we're looking at defining what success means to each and every one of us. What matters to you? Do you value some of these things? I am not at a place. And I'm going to say, when I think about it, I was never the person who looked at what someone else had and said, oh, they're successful. I don't care that you're driving an XYZ car. That has nothing to do with me. I don't care what shoes you're carrying. I don't care about your purse. That was never me. Gwendolyn did what Gwendolyn did. And then as I got older, now more than ever, I know I don't care. Because things can be financed. You can finance your dreams, right? Doesn't mean you're successful. It just means that right now, you are able to walk around in XYZ, and who knows, you may have to turn that back in. The world we're living in now is interesting because you can create whatever story you desire. But I go back to, does that matter to you? Like all the work you're putting in to look a certain way, have a certain life, I have to go back to why. There's been a lot of things lately that I've been questioning. And a lot of it starts with, why are you doing what you're doing? We have taken someone else's ideas of how to live life, of how to work, how to socialize, how to have community, how to have a relationship, so on and so forth. We have taken someone else's ideas. And it's high time for us to start defining these things for ourselves. Get out of the rat race. Get out of it. Realize that if it doesn't matter to you, why are you doing it? Why? Because, well, my mother did it, my aunt did it, and according to my friends, they say, well, what that got to do with you, though? That's nothing to do with you. Nothing. When I think about defining success, a couple of things come to mind. One of them is the fact that we don't believe in can't. Okay? Can't is not part of our vocabulary. It is a can. Now, you may not know how in this moment how to do something, but there's not a can't. And I say this all the time, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't like liver. So when I say I can't eat it, okay, it's a lie. If I really, really had to, I would, but I don't really have to. I would much rather just not eat than to eat it. Right? So it's not like an allergy where you can't have pineapple. You cannot have the peanuts, right? Like that's not that. This is more of a choice. And when we're talking about success and defining success for yourself, these are choices. You are at a place where you now have to decide what it is you want to focus on. You're looking at your values and you're looking at what matters to you. And then you're focusing on what you can do. All those things you can do. Those are your successes. We so often, again, overlook the very basic definition of what success is. It's accomplishments. I didn't think I could walk a mile. I did it. And I'm feeling great. And now that I've walked this mile, now I want to walk 2 miles. I want to walk 3. I want to jog a little bit and then walk the other 2. I want to jog 1.5 miles and then walk another 1.5 miles. Like we are always pushing ourselves to that next level. I often speak about being a lifelong learner. If you have ever mastered something, we got problems. Not because it's not good to be a master, but because you don't want to ever stop learning. There is always something new to learn. Always. The world is ever evolving. You should always, and I know I use the word should, forgive me, but you should also be evolving. Could you stay the same? You could, but I don't know if remaining the same serves us when every single day there is something different happening outside our window. And we're going to need different tools, different skills, different competencies to navigate those new waters. Some of what you had before will be necessary, will come in handy, but then there's this whole other bucket that you haven't dipped into that you need. Evolution. So the first thing I want to talk about is defining success for yourself. What matters to you? And looking at what you want to accomplish and recognizing that you can accomplish any and all of those things that matter to you. let me just say this, just having the mindset that you can do all things, that in itself is a level of success, because the mind can be a dark place. Dark. We get into our head, man, we go from 0 to 100, and it's all the bad things. We never say, and I know I shouldn't say never, but very rarely do you hear people say, what's the best thing that could happen? Doing a rewire on the brain, whew, major. If you can get that going, hey, hats off to you. I mean, it took me a little bit, but I got there. We don't do the what's the worst. It is what's the best thing that could happen. We look for the positives versus all the worst things, right? Keep that in mind. That changing your mindset is a big, big shift. So let's talk about this as well. As we are working towards defining success and making things happen, you've got your dreams. And I personally keep a list of aspirations, a book of aspirations, but they just don't happen on their own. There's got to be some work involved. Dreams plus the work, that equals the success. You've heard of a couch to a 5K? Well, first things first, I got to get off the sofa. Let me just do that. I got up, I got dressed, I went outside. I did a quarter mile. I'm bringing it back. And that's all you got to do. That's all you have to do. Every little bit builds on the next. Every little bit. So when you're thinking about some of your bigger dreams, your wildest dreams, and I know people will say again, you think about the dreams that, scare you, which again, I don't understand. I don't know why we don't operate more in joy. Well, take it back. I do know why. That's not today's topic, though. I'm going to save the whole fear thing for another day, because that's real. Fear being used as a tool to make you do certain things that you probably shouldn't do, that you don't want to do. We are coming from a place of joy. Think of the dreams that if you could do any of those things, it would bring you so much joy. And then ask yourself, what do you have to do to make that happen? Now, I'm going to make it simple for you. It could just be as simple as changing your job, going for a degree, going for a certification, asking somebody out. I know I went personal. Cleaning out the house, making a move, moving to a new city, rebuilding a relationship that you loved but is currently broken. Success is not just job related. It really does impact every single facet of our life. Everything we do. Like I said, the kid who can now tie their own shoes. Should say his, her, their, but their own shoes. That's success. For us, we're like, that's nothing, but that's for you. And if I may, really quick before I move forward, it's never our place to judge someone else's successes, someone else's wins. If someone's winning, I'm winning. I don't care what it is. Because that's not my dream. And it's not for me to judge someone else's dream. You know how someone says, well, why don't you dream bigger? Bigger compared to what? For some people, and I've used this example before, for some people, going to Applebee's is huge. Going to Red Lobster is huge. For someone else, they're like, Applebee's, Red Lobster, Cheesecake Factory. It's not my place to judge your dream. You do what you want to do because that's what's in your heart. That's what's driving you. It's not my place. And if you have people around you who are judging your dreams, get you some different people. Just saying. Get you some different people. So as we wrap this up, and we're going to come back to this, like I said, we are working on getting a quick little workshop. And I use the word workshop loosely because it's more of a conversation where the people who want to rewire their brain, their mindset, and want to break away from society's current definition of what's successful. And it's not serving them. It's more of that. So I'm going to say workshop because there will be some things to do, a little bit of writing exercises here and there, but what can I tell you? But we're working on that. So in the meantime, if you want to get on our newsletter, you can go to HouJackDMS.com. I write something once a month. It's been a little while because, like I said, we've been on hiatus, and that's okay. But we're going to start talking about tips on selling, growing a career, overcoming the obstacles, building a community. Right now, community is key. And it does not escape me that I have met some people who have talked about the trials of networking. Some of us do it well. Some of us suck at it. Yeah, I said that. I said it. Some of us suck at it. So we're going to work on those things. We'll be sharing more of those tips and things in the newsletter. It is monthly, once a month, because we get a lot of stuff in our email, in the e-box. In the inbox, we don't need to get a lot of stuff. So when I send something, trust me, it's worth reading. Just keep that in mind. I also want to say, just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I know it has been a hot minute. We have been away for a while. No worries. We're coming back to. We're going to get back on schedule. We're going to get back on track. We're going to do all of that. So that's good. We're going to get back on track. We're going to get back on schedule and start bringing more information to all of you on a consistent basis. We're going to go back to our every other Wednesday. So we have that. And we'll be sharing more career building tips. But this particular month and perhaps the next 2 months, it's going to be about setting the foundation. Really looking at who you are. As a career coach, one of the first things I have to do is I have to know who you're talking to, right? Like I have to know, who am I talking to? Like, who are you? A lot of people, and I know I use a lot and there's a lot of assumptions here, but just work with me. A number of people want to give us a career coach or someone else, an advisor, and they're looking for this quick fix, this quick answer. Fact of the matter is that does not exist. We are individuals. And in order for anyone, any advisor, coach, or otherwise, counselor, to give you really good advice, we have to know who we're talking to. And if I don't know you, I can't give you what you need to be successful. For you to reach the next level that you're attempting to reach. And for some of us, talking about ourselves and looking at ourselves, it's painful. I'll even use the word scary because we never had to really do it. We've always had or relied on someone else to tell us who we are. We're going to cut that out. We're going to cut it out. We're going to take some time, look at who we are, and work through these processes. So the first one is value-based. And one of the topics that I believe is a great place to start is defining success. We're going to get deeper into it on our next conversation. I'm going to go slightly deeper into it when we talk about success and look at some of the side effects of using someone else's example, someone else's definition, when you're not living life by your own rules, definitions, values, all those things, how it can be chaotic for you. That's going to be our next conversation. Until then, I want to thank you all for tuning in for this quick lunch and learn, as I like to say. Appreciate you all being here. And I'm excited about what this season is going to bring. I've got some good learning for you. Stay tuned for the activities. So get on the newsletter, but also we'll be sure to put some of those activities and workshops and things in the video description, as well as the post area, the community post area on YouTube. Talk to you then.